Hi guys! So today's video is going to be a book review on the book Vicious by V.E. Schwab. I picked this book up for a few different reasons. One is that I read the Shades of Magic series last month and I really loved it and I wanted to get more into a lot of her writing. And the other reason was that I saw an interview of her where she talked about this book and she had me super convinced without even telling me really anything about the plot. I actually got to meet her recently at a book signing and she elaborated a little bit on what got her into writing this book. And one of the things was that she was a little bit in a writing slump and she didn't have a very positive relationship with one of her publishing companies. And this kind of turned into a secret project of hers to help her get back into writing and to appreciate and love writing again. She said that if she didn't have to worry about marketing or sellability, what would she write? And Vicious was the result of that. The story itself, I don't want to dive into it too much because the less you know the better, is about anti-heroes basically, and the anti-heroes are going head to head, and even though neither of them is necessarily good, you still are gonna root for one over the other. I went into this not knowing much more than that. For me, if you tell me a story is about an anti-hero or it's about a villain-like person, I'm already super intrigued. And the plot itself is almost exactly like a comic book plot, just without the pictures. It's kind of like in the world of X-Men if regular old humans didn't actually know for sure if mutants existed. That's all I'm gonna tell you about the plot, which I know isn't a lot, but honestly, the less you know about this story, the better. The format of the book is really interesting. It bounces back and forth between different time points. It starts off saying last night, then the next chapter says 10 years ago, and then it goes back to last night, and then it continuously kind of hops back and forth, and sometimes there are other time points like 3 hours ago or 6 hours until midnight. I know some people are a little bit off-put when they hear that a story is told in that kind of a format, but honestly, it's not jarring at all. And I'm not the only one. I looked up book reviews and a lot of people said the same thing. They said, this should have been really confusing, but it wasn't confusing at all. If anything, telling the story this way added to the intrigue because you knew the hatred that was going to develop in the characters, but then it would go back to 10 years ago and you would just be thinking, how on earth does it eventually get to the point it's at? It's also really dark and really gritty, and it's definitely a story where the main hero is not always a very perfect person. In fact, there are definitely times that I questioned whether or not I should root for the main character. The side characters were really interesting and great as well. They start off as kind of just side characters in the background, and then their stories kind of come to life more as the book continues on. And their relationships with the main characters, the kind of villainous characters, are really, really well done. I mentioned in my Shades of Magic review that I thought that one of the antagonists was one of my favorite antagonists of all time, and that still holds true, but I think the relationship between the bad guy in this story and another side character is up there with villain favorites. Apparently, V.E. Schwab is just really good at writing bad people. Overall, I would say that this book was fantastic, and if you're a fan of the Shades of Magic series, this isn't the same at all, but I definitely think you'll still like it. And if you haven't read any of V.E. Schwab's other works, but you like comic book stories, or you just like stories about anti-heroes, you'll love this. Although it is currently a standalone and it works just fine as a standalone, V.E. Schwab did say at the book signing I went to that she always intended for this to be a trilogy, for it to be vicious, vengeful, and victorious. And when you look up on her website, it looks like that's gonna happen because the sequel to this is listed as being released in 2018, which is awesome because this book was awesome. Also, I know covers aren't everything, but I just want to point out that the Shades of Magic series and this book, and hopefully its sequels, all have the coolest covers. I know that's not important at all, but I just felt like mentioning it. If you guys have read this book, let me know because I really enjoyed it and I would love to geek out with some of you about it. I buddy read it with somebody and the two of us both really enjoyed it and we're kind of the whole time thinking like, how is this all gonna come together? What's gonna happen? And if you guys haven't read it but you plan to, let me know that too. If you are interested in getting this book, I'll definitely have a link in the description bar below for you, but as always, if you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the little bell icon so you get notified when I post new videos, and check out some of our videos right over here. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you guys all later. Bye!